Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Paul7931 as part of the custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen from an act named, as I understand it, translated, it's Overloading with their song titled Feelings. And we're going to listen through it from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do this. What have we got? A little bit of chorus, a bit of rotary. Chromaticism there. Oh, that tone is so... That wire on that bass though. It's almost kind of doomish with the chord progression here. Really interesting mix. With the distorted guitars and clean ones going from side to side. Positive harmonies there on the vocals. Oh, that's a spicy tritone we're hitting there. Almost kind of reminds me of Metallica from the late mid-80s. Almost a bit biased here with the leads. Oh, the pinches are so smooth, dude. And it just slowly fades out at the end of the bell curve. I mean, it was a long song. It was a long song, but I feel like it was definitely well worth a listen. And we're going to talk about it more in the conclusion after we have a look through the lyrics. So we have lyrics currently provided by Paul here for this track. Overloading, titled Feelings. I feel you slowly enlarging in my heart, feeling the flowers growing in the dust, feel the light clouds turning into a bright sunset glow, feel the quiet noise in the dark night. Wow, feelings. You know, these are some strong, strong feelings, man. Feeling the lonely departure after happiness, feeling the answer you gave me. I can feel the vastness of the ocean containing your breathing and my madness. The wings of the night carry me to fantasize. Feel the scars of life amidst sighs, feeling a dim torch before dawn. Damn, it's incredibly poetic. Like, it's such wonderful wordplay here. I adore the detail we're going into, the way we're expressing ourselves. It carries weight to it, and it's sort of like, at face value, it's understandable, but it's also done the way which is also kind of beautiful. In a kind of an airy way. I think I kind of get it though. We're going to talk about this track though more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion, my review of this track from an act named Overloading, titled Feelings. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think it's about, there's like a sense of helplessness that I get from the music. Like, we're sort of really kind of wallowing in the darkness there, but there's also this like fire to it, this intensity in some of the vocal flash parts, especially later on. There's this kind of, we never feel as if we're getting too far out of that darkness there. Like, we're overwhelmed by everything that's surrounding us and affecting us. But we also are trying to sort of like look at things objectively. Feeling the wind feels special is feeling that the moon is already half red, almost like we can feel things and we're grateful for it, but we also know how bad that is. Like, the intensity of it is kind of overwhelming. I'm not specifically sure what they're talking about there. It kind of makes me think like there is someone who is, maybe they're talking to the darkness there, the feeling of all those things around them. Maybe there's someone specific that they're addressing this to. You know, containing your breath in my madness. I can feel the vastness of the ocean. I think basically, yeah, it is about that's the suffering of those feelings and how they make you feel and how you can get in your own head and how it sort of overwhelms and swamps you. Is your beauty still as it used to be, struggling in the gentle breeze? Almost like we're struggling to be quiet, I'm not sure. Or it could be someone else that's going through a similar thing. Either way, like, there's enough that it's open to interpretation. It's clearly about someone struggling with a situation they're in, with their own feelings, and whether or not it is related to someone else, I'm not sure. But it's a great song. I think that the story itself, with what I've said there and still kind of figuring out the nuances, is well told by the vocalist. We have quieter verse parts there where we're in our chest voice and we're a bit more kind of somber and we're definitely not sort of overwhelming the listener there. But then what we have is we have an alternate where just in those chorus sections, we have this incredible vocal fry and we're far more audible and it's far more in your face there. And it really is the duality of being quiet about those feelings. And then when you get that build there, it's being a bit more sort of abrupt and upfront with it and not allowing those feelings to go away. So ultimately, I think that it's a really well-intentioned track there with a phenomenal vocal performance from a singer who knows how to not only tell a story and write one, but is able to communicate that really authentically in a way that makes it everything is nice and cohesive in regards to the actual vocal performance itself. The track at 6 minutes 48 is wonderful. I'm really happy with how it sounds. I think they absolutely smashed it in regards to how they handled everything from not only the vocals, to the way the instrumental patterns worked out with the multiple guitar parts, the bass, and the drums. It was not a super overcomplicated arrangement. There weren't like endless instrumental layers, and we didn't get a whole lot of extra additions coming in the later stage there. You had everything introduced relatively early on there, but it's the way that you played the individual instruments, built those one layers up there in a way that like we came in and out with some, that made it incredibly impactful. We had this almost sort of like 0 to flat fifth situation this entire time with the progression, and it made it sound very dark and dissonant. The drums were relatively gentle on some parts there, sticking to simple kick patterns or maybe some like more sort of like alt percussion there, like some rim shots or pads, and then we come into the full kit, of course, with the hook sections there with the cymbals, kicks and snares, some tom fills. We had range dynamically with the kit whilst maintaining a sense of allowing everything else to follow along. It was an organic performance there, like it was pretty well timed, and it was like not an all the time thing, and I think it allowed a lot of those feelings to swell and fester where the guitar was involved, because the guitar was basically sort of chorusy, rotary kind of arpeggios, their single stringed chords split up into those notes. You had rhythm guitars on the other side of the stereo field there, distorted ones that are a bit more sort of trashy sounding, like they had a real kind of feistiness to them. They kind of tore away at your right eardrum a little bit whilst the left's kind of responded. And eventually you had, again, heaviness, the full rhythm guitar parts in that the hook sections as well as the later sort of interlude parts. But it's also just that you had these wonderful lead elements there. The guitar player, the soloist, is just absolutely just flawless. Like the way that we voiced it and we understood to go slower with some parts, we explored our fret ranges and also played around with the chromatics that were present within the original riffs, in the backing riff, should I say. The fact that we understood how to phrase ourselves and increase the intensity of the solo section later on to do some sort of shreddy elements there, work with palmy stuff, but also work with bends and Hamilton pull-offs and lots of different bits of ornamentation. And also maintaining, and I would arguably equal amount of attention to the singer without trying to sort of seem like it is too much, if that makes sense. Like, this is a long track and you need different lead layers as well as the vocals in order to keep things kind of interesting, and we managed to handle that really well there, really effectively. I am thankful that we were able to accomplish that, because there are 1,001 ways in which it could have been difficult to have been pull off, and we managed to avoid all of them. But yeah, we just played really elegantly. We're a fantastic alt lead, and the way we just sat with the bass as well. The bass guitarist, some occasional wah pedal stuff, a bit of distortion to the tone of the low end, but ultimately just very sort of loyal to the root notes there. We might have explored the fretboard a little bit, but traditionally we're sort of sticking with those root notes there and really kind of making it nice and sort of thumping heavy. And again, where the bass wasn't there, you heard it really clearly when it came in, because it had a bit of kick to it. It was nicely in rhythmic sync with the drum parts there, but also things were so well sort of really well produced, and so you could kind of figure out stuff where it was, and the bass had room to breathe. The theme overall, with the modularity of it, with the minor focus, with the harshness of the tones of the guitar, the rhythm and lead parts, with the chromaticism there, not sticking to additional major or minor, and instilling us into madness or chaos, with the foreboding darkness of the bass there being so thick and full on the low end there and being absolutely merciless and allowing anything else through, with the fact that the drums there were more sort of atmospheric and only really got involved when we wanted to sort of elevate things and make them seem a bit more kind of intense and explosive. It's a song where a lot of those elements came together for a theme that, again, did revolve around typical kind of like either minors or sort of diminished fifths, or, you know, like it's basically relatively almost like doom metalish kind of a go at things, but also adopting some of, again, like the thrasher elements, like some of the mid-era 80s Metallica stuff from like Ride the Lightning and all that. I can see there are influences potentially from those as well as other bands within that era, and I like the fact that Overloading made it their own. I don't think they could have done anything to add more sort of like interest to this. We had a natural bell curve where it went up and up and up and up, and then like at the end it just kind of came down in a way that was very soothing. It wasn't like a sort of automation of the volume or anything like that. It was just more that you had things could have played less or played more quietly as we went along. We had a naturally, a mutually agreeable endpoint there, and I think that I don't know what we could have done beyond this to sort of improve the experience for the listener. I think the strongest part about this track is that we knew when to come in, when to build, when to sort of maintain, and when to stop. And it's just the studio recording, mixing, and mastering where for a track that does genuinely sound without understanding the lyrics, like someone clearly going through an incredibly difficult time, and it makes sense with a lot of stuff we said in this, storytelling perspective. It's just the fact that we didn't overcomplicate or overproduce the track. We were very sort of like comfortable using like the sort of the distorted clean guitars, the rotary reverb for a bit of a grunge element from the early 90s, the bass, the tone there, sort of weighing everything down and making it seem like we're attached to lead balloons. The drums there being punchy when we needed to, kicking into the mix but not being too much. Like the panning of some of like the distorted and bass parts there almost seemed like they were kind of a bit sooner or closer into the mix than 100% on each side, which is totally fine. It's just the way they were positioned there. The music went backwards and forwards in the stereo field, and I like the fact that we played around with that concept, that we didn't just have everything really static. There was dynamic range to this. It wasn't the same loud all the time, so it gave a bit more life. And it was nice to loud without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting were handled. And it's just effectively, it's commercial grade in regards to the studio production. Really fantastic song. Thank you for watching my review of this track from Overloading, titled Feelings, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SC Patrons video. Spiderhands out.